And we are live. What's up, everybody? We got a special edition interview with the band AAerial out of Austin, Texas. We looks like the Brady Bunch in here, man. We got, I think, what, 3/4 of the band here. We're gonna four.
Oh,
Here we go. We've got
there it is.
Yeah, boom. We got it right here. It's gonna be a great interview. I'm Jared Seymour,
I'm Kevin Harris.
and we're gonna roll into the intro and get started. All right, that's it. So the band AAerial, they're based out of Austin, Texas. And I'm scrolling through Facebook the other night and I see a live stream come on from, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, Come and Take It is the bar. And the bar is also in Austin. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing a killer performance, a killer live stream, multi-cameras, switching, professional sound. And I'm like, who the hell is this playing? Turns out it was you guys. So I immediately jump. Actually, I tagged Kevin in the comments is the first thing I did. Then I jump over to Spotify and look up y'all stuff and just start listening to the two songs that y'all have. I've probably played each of those songs, I don't know, 100 times, man. I'm digging the tunes. I'm digging the sound. It's familiar and different at the same time. So I shot you a message and want to talk. Like, I want to know all about you guys, how you got started, how y'all all, the band got formed. How long have you been a band? So let's start with how you got started.
Well, real quick, I'm just going to say we probably can thank you for us hitting over 3,000 streams then.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Statistically significant part in that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Cool. I think we'll let Jeremy or Carlos kind of start off. They're the kind of
They started the band. So Carlos, you want to kind of do our early beginnings, brother?
Yeah, sure. So me and Jeremy started the band. Started just as a project because we were doing nothing at the time, but we both previously had played in bands. We were together. I mean, what, Jeremy, like 2 years, just like by ourselves, pretty much. So we started to look for musicians. Luckily, we found two badass musicians. We kind of knew Ken already. Roman, we found off this shitty band finder website.
It's called Band Mix. It's like Tinder for musicians, bro.
Yeah.
There we go. I always make the grinder joke. I'm glad somebody else.
Low-hanging fruit is what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's without getting too far into it, I mean, that's basically how we started. And we've all been together as a unit for what, two and a half years, guys?
Yeah.
2.5 years. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
So with a year of COVID in that 2.5 number, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the full band has been up and running since the start of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw y'all on the live stream, and then, like I said, I checked the Spotify, I only saw that you had the two songs out. I was like, this is definitely not these guys' first band for sure. I know. And they're probably a little bit newer, only haven't had the two songs released. But your stage performance was spot on. Really killer, just tons of energy. And then I'm hearing like the growling vocals, heavy ass music, and then electronic stuff going on in there. So I'd love to talk about that. Like, where does that influence come from? Because that's a little unique to what I'm hearing right now. I know other bands do it, but y'all are pulling it off like super well.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
The electronics. Oh, sorry. Go, Connors.
Well, just our love for electronic music. Like, I'm a big drum and bass head. And always have liked bands that have tried to pull that off because it's not always easy. I think a lot of bands do it and comes off as super cheesy sometimes. So finding that right balance of the sounds that work with the music is definitely a task in itself. But I think we all really like electronic music, so just having that element in there. And as far as like local bands goes, not a lot of people are trying it. So I think that kind of, at least for the stage we're on, set us apart right from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How many shows have you guys played? Like that wasn't your first show, right? As this band.
No, I think we've played at least we've had 3 to 4 major headlining shows in 2019, and as a total of collective shows we've probably done about Not that many. Like I would say probably 15 tops.
Yeah, because we started our first show was November of 2018, I think.
Yeah, November
And
2018
then
was our first
from,
one. Yeah.
from there, probably once to maybe twice a month at most, just because, you know, we're just staying in Austin, so we weren't trying to oversaturate ourselves and trying to play every weekend or anything. So we would play once a month, depending on if we grab something cool. We might do twice a month, depending on the venue. And then, of course, 2020 hit, so we went from March 6th of 2020 all the way until that show that you saw our stream of February 27th, 2021 with no shows, which
In
are, you know,
between. Yeah.
like most bands had to deal with, right? So that was our first show back after a year away from the stage.
And what did y'all got? Well, we asked a lot of bands the same question. What did y'all do during that downtime with COVID having everybody locked up? I mean, was it right? Was it record? What was it?
Yeah, we hit it hard, man. I mean, we had a lot of different goals. So we spent time figuring out what we were going to do with like merchandising when shows started back up. That wasn't our top priority, but we, you know, it's still underway. And we created a lot of things that were just missing in our social medias, like a structure and a format to everything that's following like every single release that we do. We opened up all lines of social media, including like Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. So we just kind of formatted everything. We spent a lot of time recording, of course. So, I mean, we had that first single come out, and then we worked on the second single. Both singles were mixed and mastered by Jokke Skog. He's a gentleman out in Sweden that has worked with After the Burial on their In Dreams album in 2016, I believe. So working with him was a pleasure. We're currently working on our third single release. It's going to be out April 2nd. I think it's cool to kind of tell y'all now. I mean, we were kind of holding back on this, but it's coming out. So, I mean, we've moved on from working with Jokke, and we're currently working with Chris Wiseman of Currents and Shadow of Intent. He's done an amazing job on this mix. We're super happy with the release. Outside of that, the only other things that we've been working on is new music so that when we continue to do more shows, hopefully that we can incorporate that. And a really cool cover that's on the way after April 2nd, single releases.
I love
now,
it.
now you're speaking Kevin's language over here. I'm going to let Kevin jump on that one.
Uh-oh. All right.
No, we do we have our own internet radio station, and one of the shows that I do on the station is called Got You Covered, which is basically just rock bands doing covers. So
Nice.
I'm always looking for a good cover of any type. So can't wait. Honestly, can't wait.
This
Yeah,
is
because I think
perfect.
we do plan on recording that. I think that's kind of next on our agenda. You know, we kind of went through during the pandemic time, still trying to play it safe. So we all kind of stayed away from each other. You know, we for months we were paying, you know, rent a rehearsal space that we weren't using. We were doing Zoom calls to do band meetings, and we slowly kind of got more comfortable with getting together to either record or rehearse. So, you know, even though we've only put out a couple songs, it's kind of like, well, to kind of us kind of continue to be safe and do everything we're doing and kind of get used to the world the way it was becoming with working from home and masks and all that stuff. You know, we slowly kind of got out there to kind of remix stuff and record, you know, things. And we had a couple other songs that were getting remixed. And then
And you guys, don't forget that you all ostracized me, man. They were like, "Hey, man, you're the most irresponsible guy, so none of us are meeting with you." I was like, "You kidding, bro?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "I'm staying at home, dude." They're like, "I don't know if I believe that." I'm like, "Okay."
Enough of the stories we heard. And you have to have your mask off to sing, and so you have the most spittle coming out. And
yeah, so I kind of faced the wall, man. They put me in the corner.
Dang. So can y'all read the comment down here? Can y'all see it on your screens as well? It says this is Jack saying y'all were going to play South by Southwest. Is that correct? Last year, but then COVID screwed it all up.
Yep, we played in 2019. We were supposed to play in 2020. The Metal Monsters didn't pan out. The venue's actually closed now, unfortunately. Dirty Dog, which is one of the major venues for metal on 6th Street, unfortunately closed. They are planning on a reopening under a different name and a different location, but that's typically where the metal genre would go for the South by Southwest Metal Monsters that they've been doing for I think like a decade or something now. But
because it's been an official South by Metal showcase, I think, since 2017 or 2018. So when we jumped on, it was like the second or third year. And then, we were going to do it last year. And it was just, like the last time we played before this past show, March 6th, was at Come and Take It Live. But on the way to that show, as we're driving to the show, it's like, hey, we're canceling South by Southwest this year. Like, that's when they announced that cancellation.
Yeah.
And it's like, for us, initially it was, okay, South by Southwest is canceled, but they could still do Metal Monsters. It just wouldn't be an official showcase because we just didn't know really what was really going to happen, because we figured, okay, they're being safe. There's a lot of international travelers for South by. Let's do kind of local. And then it was like, nope, don't do anything. Shut everything down, and nothing, happened. So it was a bummer for sure. It was great the first time we played. And we're definitely looking forward to doing it again, especially to play with some of the other bands that we don't get a chance to normally play with that are from in and around Texas, but not local to Austin. So, but
So speaking of Texas, something's going on over there, because all of these bands are just flying out of Texas right now. I mean, a lot of the bands that we're talking to and dealing with are out of Texas. Let's just throw some out here. Pigweed out of San Antonio, Kingdom Collapse out of San Antonio, Relent out of San Antonio, Hopeful out of Austin. You guys are out of Austin. As Strange as Angels is out of Austin. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out of the Texas area.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
It's in the beer.
It's in the beer, yeah.
Is that the one y'all are drinking? Because I love that shit.
Lone Star, yeah, man.
That ain't too bad. Dude, Kevin's not lying though, man. Y'all are doing something over there. I wonder, is it like y'all are in Austin? So Austin's pretty well known for its music scene now, but the heavier side of things, I don't know. Y'all let us know. Is there that avenue there? Is there a venue there, kind of, sort of?
I mean, it's it's a bluesy rock town. It's where it kind of started from. With Stevie Ray Vaughan and Country with Willie and stuff like that, just to name like 2 out of millions. But I don't know. I think this city's always had a really good underground Austin or metal scene, but it never really got a lot of attention, to be honest with you. San Antonio's always been just a giant place for metal when it comes to Texas.
Yeah.
Houston's been pretty good. Dallas as well.
I was going to say Houston for sure. A lot of it bleeds over from Houston. There's a very large Black Death and doom metal community out there. So,
oh, wow.
Bands like Oceans of Slumber. I'm friends with those guys. They're over there. I'm friends with the guys in Kingdom Collapse. You mentioned the drummer David, and San Antonio also just houses a lot of like speed metal and stuff like that. It's funny, like each of the regions have like their own genre of metal almost, but that's what I've noticed.
Austin doesn't really.
Yeah, Austin's a little bit just kind of like everybody.
It's all over the place.
Choose a weapon, do what you want, like
right?
But it's a little bit more melting pot.
But it gives you the opportunity to play with other bands that you normally wouldn't get the opportunity to, and that was a big goal of ours, is if we were going to play with other bands, we didn't want to be kind of just pigeonholed it into one particular genre. We wanted to see if maybe other opportunities with other genres would come up, and you never know, other people get the opportunity to play in front of you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot with the COVID stuff, man. There's a lot of people fleeing California and going into the state of Texas, and I think Austin specifically. So y'all got a lot of like transplants coming your way, right?
Dude, we got Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, man.
They're coming to the next show. They already VIP to the next show. So.
Yeah, man.
We're getting killed with property values and property taxes.
Yeah, the property tax.
It's fun.
Property taxes are ideal. So I mean, that's.
Well, no state income tax, so you got that going for you.
That's one of the reasons, right?
Exactly. That's why they're moving in.
Exactly.
I'm just worried about them ruining my tacos. That's really down to. If they want to influence my tacos, we might have some problems.
Well, they've already busted in with their terrible burger chain.
Dude, man. I mean,
Elon, Here we go. The burger wars. Huh?
Elon Musk.
Pete Terry's.
Elon Musk might enhance your tacos, dude. You never know. The guy's doing all sorts of stuff. So
I don't need my taco to eat me. Okay. I don't need my taco to make me into sustainable energy. Okay.
There you go.
It's good to hear that you guys embrace the social media side of things during the lockdown. Kevin and I try to talk to bands about that, you know, when we have them on the show. Some seem to embrace it more, some seem to totally ignore it, and then some, like you guys, seems to sound like, you know, you understand its value and its importance. So how do y'all approach that? I mean, are y'all trying to put out absolutely as much content as you can always, or is it a little more refined? Do you try to tweak things before you release it? Like, what's the mindset behind your social media strategy as a band as a whole?
So I kind of manage the front end of that. I kind of distribute duties to each of us that would kind of help me gear things into shape. But I mean, my first set of goals was just to put everything on a social media platform, on the highest viewed social media platforms, i.e. Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, whatever, like you name it, Twitter, all that stuff, right? So after setting that goal, man, I took some lessons, not only on Spotify, but a social media masterclass with David Pluckett. He is the drummer for We Came as Romans, and he is the owner of Musician Mentors Online. They do a lot of good stuff there. So I've taken some lessons from them on the structure and the buildup of releases, which is what everything's geared around when it comes to social media. It's what you're putting out. It's content, whether it be photos, videos, music videos, anything. So, I mean, I kind of set my goals 4 to 5 weeks out for each single release. It would be the same if it was an EP or an album release, which, you know, I'm sure we'll get to. But within that 4 to 5 weeks, you know, I do everything I can as far as ad promotion. I run different marketing teams that I usually work with. These are all things that like a major record label would do for a band. I just kind of have taken the role of that responsibility. So in a sense, like without the financial support, I am more or less our record label or manager in that sense. I try to do all I can to really reach out to playlists. I network with those that do put us on. So like, you know, I try to follow up with gentlemen like yourselves that would want to put us on their interviews and just try to do everything I can to spread the name. I mean, it would be a very high consequence for a band to not take the benefit of what we have today, especially in 2021 with the way that online presence works. Because it's like, you know, before we had it, you know, people blew up by playing huge stages. But in 2021, the biggest stage is the internet, if you think about it. I mean, people can literally become an overnight success just like that, you know, just by doing the correct things. And that's not to take away from those that put in the hard work. It doesn't always happen like that. But the availability for it, just based on the sheer size of the internet, it's the whole world. So you can't miss anywhere, really. You know, so I mean, it would be a really big consequence to not take advantage of that, especially during a time like COVID, because everyone's on the internet. So, I mean, like they're all stuck at home. That's what they're doing. So, yeah, we took full advantage of trying to push ourselves into the US. We have fans in Australia. We have fans in Turkey, which is where I'm from natively, and then also the UK. So those would be our top current countries that we're getting our streams from at the moment.
Well, I want to back you up for a minute because you had mentioned about reaching out and networking with Spotify playlists and things like that. What does it take? Because I see a lot of people post and I read articles and stuff like that. What does it take for an independent band to get onto some of these Spotify playlists? I mean, is it just a matter of sending emails and hoping and wishing, or is it hounding? Is it what's the best tactic that you've seen so far to get yourself on some of these Spotify playlists?
Sure. So I can answer that. I want to preface it with like, I'm not by any means like a social media master. I feel very knowledgeable over what I'm doing because I am accredited by people who are huge success in the metal industry, and the rock and just in general music industry, actually. So, I mean, I've been accredited by these people. I've worked with them. So everybody has kind of a slow start and you build up. But the idea and the approach for getting on like Spotify playlists, there's Apple playlists, there's all sorts of other venues. Spotify is the most adhered online venue presence, if you will. They have double, actually triple, I think, the amount of online subscribers and streamers that like Apple Music or any other music distributor like Amazon Music has. It's the largest format. So, I mean, you will go to the largest platform, right, to get your music out. It's the smartest thing to do. Playlist is a widest and best way to distribute your music on there. So as far as like just sending emails out, it does take a little bit of investigative work. I mean, you do have to sort of hunt some of these people down. It helps if you have a record label because they already have the connections. But outside of all of that, there's two different types of playlists. So there's ones that are like curated by just like anyone, like you can make one, I can make one, it can get really popular, and then we can choose what our sets of rules are for putting people on and things like that. And then there's Spotify playlists, which are termed as editorial playlists. So those are owned by Spotify. To pitch your song to be on a playlist for Spotify, you have to set that 4 to 5 weeks in advance that I mentioned. It's all done through the Spotify for Artists app. But as far as reaching other people, you just have to see what's popular for your genre. Sometimes you end up going out of your genre a little bit because that's okay. Just because you're not that specific genre, you may blend or even be potentially like, you kind of have to look at it like this. Like not everyone on the bill is the same genre of metal, but they could be on the same playlist. So not all playlists are geared specifically for gent, specifically for metalcore, specifically for classic rock. A lot of them are just kind of amalgamations of similar tastes or areas even, or regions, and you just try to reach out to those people. Sometimes their names are on there, their profile pictures are on there, and if you can hunt down their Facebook or their website, sometimes it's a record label and they have their record label name on there. You could reach out that way and see if they'll put you on their playlist. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot of groundwork, man. It's like a second job. So, I do work really hard between that 4 to 5 weeks until we hit promotional release time. So.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah. Dude, I love to hear you speak like that because I follow a guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Gary V. He's real big into social media. And
love
business.
Gary V.
Yeah, man. So he's how I get all my tactics for promoting the platform that we're trying to create here with the sound. But I don't know if it was specifically him or someone else, but they said like, especially like for artists, as an artist, you love to write and record and play live and everything. And that's like where you really get your fix from. But that should be like at best, like, 50%, maybe 49% of the equation in today's world, right? With the other percentage being the distribution and getting known and doing it in-house like y'all are doing is getting the awareness, right? Because if no one hears it, then you're not going to do it for a living at the very least, right? So it's cool to hear you understand that and be working as hard, if not harder, not only writing music, but getting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, a good rule of thumb for that, just for like people that are listening that are artists that I found to work really well, is whatever money you've used towards production, mastering, and mixing, it's not to say that you couldn't use more money, but you would typically use about 50% of what you paid. So half of what you paid towards all that, towards the marketing for it. That's right. The minimum. That's the minimum. That's the base. So that's what I've learned. That's what works the best for us. And we use all avenues to do that. So, and it comes from our own pockets, obviously. So.
Right. Are y'all actually recording in Austin, like tracking there?
Yeah. I'll let Carlos answer that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, what studio, like what's the scene like in Austin for recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at the recording studio right here. It's
that was kind of a loaded question because I wondered if y'all were doing it in house, man.
It's DIY,
yeah. We do it all DIY. At least the recording, editing part. But then once we got it up to par, that's when we send it off for mixing and mastering.
All right, cool. Are you doing everything in the box in your room right there? Like,
everything's in the box. I don't have any like super badass gear or anything. Just Logic and a Mac. And I mean, for the drums, since we don't have a studio, for example, so DIYing it, we go to the Jam Shack, set up some mics for the overheads, and then we put triggers on all the drums. So all the drums are sent through like some drum sim software, but we have the actual cymbal sound for a little bit more realism, because sometimes you lose it,
Yeah, but I mean, I think even in real recording studios, they MIDI out the drums at least on one track, and add overdubs to it anyway. So that's not anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
that's all. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and that software, the drum sim software, sounds so good these days. Like I
have a CD drummer at my house, and it sounds phenomenal. Like, I mean,
yeah.
And that's not an expensive program at all.
And
what's your background in recording?
Oh, go ahead, Carlos. What's your background in recording? Yes, I'm sorry.
Just all YouTube, basically.
Nice.
YouTube scholars.
I love it. Dude. That's awesome. And I've heard I've heard the finished product, so I know y'all are doing it right, man. That's awesome. And I hope the bands that are listening to this, watching it, or listening on the playback, like you can do it at home. And then, like the smart thing here is sending it off to get it mastered, like y'all mixed and mastered, like y'all are doing. So how do you go through that process? There's these people that through other artists, other bands that you've met while playing live, or is this through the internet again?
So Yoke
Just
Skog,
ask him.
the gentleman, I mean, pretty much, but Yoke Skog, the gentleman that mixed our first 2 singles, we collectively, Ken, other way on the camera, Ken, he went to NAMM quite a few times. I know Carlos and Jeremy did as well, but he went with one of our buddy bands, Death of a Dream, that's out of Austin, and they met Yoke Skog there. So he's the one that I mentioned mixed our first 2 singles. He's worked with After the Burial on their 2016 In Dreams. He's very good at what he does. He's friends with Ola Englund and has worked on some of the feared and the haunted stuff as far as I know. And so we worked with him, and we just simply knew him because of that connection. And he kind of offered to Ken, I believe, at an after party or something like that to do our stuff. I think he had mentioned it to Carlos too. So we jumped on that. As far as Chris Wiseman, well, Currents is one of my favorite bands, I would say. I love Shadow of Intent too. And I just really love like their overall mix, their overall sound, particularly like the drum panning and the vocals, and the way that they allow space between. They use a little bit of electronics as well. So like the space that they allow between that and the music, which is referred to as EQ carving, he does very well. So like I just kind of like thought to myself, like, which band would I want to sound like mix wise? Right. And I thought to myself, okay, well, let me just look up who mixes that band. Sure enough, I looked it up. It's the guitar player, Chris Wiseman. I was like, oh, okay, so he's doing it himself too. I'm like, this is great. So it's kind of like more or less what we're doing. But, like Carlos mentioned, we get it up to par. We edited it. We refine it. So what he's getting is a very polished, almost finished version. I would imagine it doesn't take him, a guy of his skill set, very long to mix and master stuff. So.
There's also been times where like the demos that we've had and we showed other people have been really immaculate, and those were just ones that Carlos did, too. So it isn't necessary that you go with these professionals, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, rappers do this for a reason. They go to different producers all the time, different beat makers, and those beat makers or producers have name behind them as well. So, that in itself is also publicity for your track in a sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Another influence here recently for Kevin and I for this show is a guy called KO. I don't know if you've ever seen, but he mixes rap songs live like this right now, where you see his screen, you see the stems, and he goes through EQ's vocals, brings stuff up, mix the levels, cuts, drops the beat. It's all this stuff while engaging with the audience, while answering comments. And it's crazy, man. It's like next level. This is where music's going. This is like the future of the shit. It ain't going to just be behind a console locked away anymore. I don't believe. So it's really cool. But yeah, I think that's killer, guys, that y'all are, taking the bull by the horns, kind of like, the old way I think was like, we're going to sit back and play shows until we get signed. And, that's cool. The record deal is great, but it sure is a lot better if you've established yourself at shows as well, but also online, because then you got leverage when they want to come in and try to get you to sign some kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Look at Prince.
Right.
Prince was doing everything himself back in the 80s and 70s, maybe even 60s. I don't know the history that well of that, but he was doing all the stuff.
Close enough.
It's in there. It's in there. No, he feels like he's been alive forever before he died. Dude never aged. But I mean, he was doing himself, and then when those record labels came around, he made his own thing. I mean, at this point, the only thing that really is going to get a record label for us would be something that they can offer that we can't do ourselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's mostly, I think, what we're going to be looking at in terms of like a record label can help you with a lot, but like, they offer a lot. For me, what would be very helpful is like distributions and connections with like because I have to really do a lot of hustle for that. So just to have someone that would be like, I got you, I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
I'd be like, cool, man.
Pretty much hiring somebody for an index,
Yeah. We're not someone that's looking like, I mean, financial support is always great, but like, I wouldn't want like a massive amount of money from a record label. That could be kind of, bad.
Little iffy, like, oh, you want it back?
Yeah, in some cases, but that's always helpful to artists that maybe like don't have jobs. Like, I mean, we're all pretty successful in our own arenas there, but another thing that they just kind of offer is sponsorships too. Like they have connections to the, like guitar companies, pick companies, guitar strap companies, vocal companies, microphone companies, like all that stuff. So gearing up with those sort of people and having them share your music too is a huge support. Not to mention online blogs and like magazines. So
hell yeah. Well, Kevin, you got the video queued up with you guys, and we'll play it right here in the stream, and then come back after it's over with and finish out the interview here, man. This has been a pleasure so far.
Is it Aphotic Tunnels?
It is the lyric video.
Yeah, cool, man. All right.
Hang on.
I was like, I don't remember shooting a video.
Yeah, they went out and got it, bro. We didn't need to.
Here we go.
We just did it without you, man.
So glad I didn't have to do any work.
We just did it. We just had to
This guy, bro. You just focus on drumming, dude.
All right, here we go.
I'll just send a selfie.
Tell me, was it everything that you wanted when you held it in your hands? Like a dream as you wake, is it real, is it fake? It's contorted. Twisting and slamming inside of my head. If I knew the right answer, I'd give you a hand. Questioning, the hell did I even get here? If I only would have listened, I might have already found my way. Maybe life has made you feel so small. Even if you're on the ground, you stand tall. Well, maybe it's found a way to cripple you. Even if my legs won't carry me, I will crawl.
Uh-oh. I think we lost the feed on the video. Can y'all hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can. Yeah.
Yeah, just cut out. What happened?
I was going off too.
I think it's all my.
I was headbanging, and
I had my computer turned way up. I don't know if that affected anything.
It's just rocking out too hard.
Yeah, dude. It was too much for the stream to handle.
It was lagging a little bit.
I was stirring the ramen.
But, I think
this ramen's gonna be delicious.
I think I got the point across, though. I mean, if like people right now want to jump on Spotify, you could hear it a little bit more clearly, maybe without the lag. But hopefully, like what you guys heard gave you the idea of what our sound is. So.
Yeah, you could definitely hear like the electronic stuff we were talking about in that breakdown, man, where everything just kind of went quiet, and that's I'm digging it, guys. Like, huge fan over here in Biloxi for sure. So, like you said, that you can jump down on the Spotify, look them up. AAerial is the band name. Type them in there. Go listen to the 2 songs. One question that did just pop back into my head before we end this is,
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
It was my computer. That's why. I just now am starting to see you guys. So
okay.
It was my computer. Something was going on and it froze up. And my bad. My apologies.
Well, I said it wouldn't be a real internet show if we didn't have some kind of technical glitch.
All right.
It happened, man.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah, exactly. But what's coming down the pipe as far as more songs? I know you mentioned earlier, like the cover song y'all got coming up, but like, is it a full EP or a full album, I should say? Or do we have a number of set songs that we can be looking for this year?
April 2nd, we're releasing our newest single, the one that I said Chris Wiseman from Currents had mixed. That one's called Equivalent Exchange. That will be dropping April 2nd. The month after that, in May, towards the end of May, we will probably drop our cover. It's no big secret. I won't say what the song is, but just to kind of push people to go listen to our live stream. If you find us on Facebook, the live stream that Jared and Kevin, right?
Kevin.
Had heard us on from Come and Take It Live. It's on our stream. We do a Depeche Mode cover. So if you want to know what song it is, you're a Depeche Mode fan, go check it out. That'll be coming out in the end of May. After that, with the amount of time we have towards the end of the year, I think we should have projected 3 to 4 more at least releases. We're not planning on doing that. Like, we're going on this whole single release thing. Like, a lot of people are doing that right now. They're doing singles versus full EPs or a full album. It's not that we couldn't do one, and it's not that we won't even release one when we have enough songs to just be like, here's all the collective stuff we've done in an album or an EP. We could do that, but the idea behind doing it by single is we're not like a really big known band. Obviously, we're growing. We're an independent band. I think it's smartest to do it via single, because like if you do it via album and you drop that, let's say it has 10 tracks on it, then that's no different in terms of projection from point A to B. You can project that out a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, but like it's a singular product that's stuck in that timeline. See, what we're doing is we're dropping one repeatedly, new. And that's kind of what the Spotify algorithm follows, is consistent products. So if you drop 10 at once, that's a singular product. If you drop 10 within a series of 10 months, that's a consistent month over month product. So that's kind of the pathway that we've chosen to follow. As we get more of a following and bang out some more songs, which we're working on, we do plan out to put a 4 to 5 track EP and hopefully a 10 track album in the future. So
I hope all the independent guys out there are listening to this, because that was some little truth nuggets right there. I mean, that's marketing and music distribution for 2021. So that was a great answer, man.
Yeah.
Kevin, I don't know if you got anything, if you're back on the up to speed with us here, but you got anything else, man, before we wrap things up with these guys?
No, I want to say that the other night when Jared found you guys, he shot me the link real quick, and very impressive, and what you guys are doing, and to hear how you guys are doing it and the reasoning behind it, because that's what you were just talking about, dropping the singles on Spotify. The way that do it instead of a whole album is worth to give that continuous content. I've seen it happening, but nobody's explained the reasoning behind it. So I was always like, I'm an old radio guy, so I'm used to, they release a single, they push that single for about a month, they release the whole album. Now that you've put that into the reasoning of why people are doing that and why bands are doing it now, it makes so much more sense. So thank you very much for that part of it. But no, you guys are killer. Can't wait to hear more stuff.
Absolutely, man. It's on the way. April.
When are you live next? What's the next live gig?
We're waiting on that one for a little bit. Hopefully, though, we're crossing our fingers. It'll be with our buddies in Death of a Dream, which if nobody's heard of, you should definitely check them out. Also an incredible Austin live band. They're actually pretty well known here. So, I mean, if you love metal, you'll love these guys. But I believe we're kind of hoping to get on their CD release or EP release, whichever they kind of choose to do at that time. But I think that's going to be our next show, I think.
Yeah,
unless something else pops up that seems worth it.
Nothing's booked right now.
Kevin and I can say that we pulled Kingdom Collapse out of Texas for their first show, and it was over here in Biloxi, Mississippi. So,
sweet.
If y'all are open to that at some point throughout the year, we're working on our end to try to establish some type of venue, man. We don't have any real great venues that are not like the casino for, major artists or whatever. But if we can work something out, we'd love to have y'all come down here on the Gulf Coast, man.
Cool. Hey,
so Jared, that'd be amazing. Yeah, we'd love to. That'd be
Jared, how did you come across Come and Take It Live?
Because Kevin and I are really behind the scenes working to try to open up a venue that's like that. So we follow the Machine Shop out of Flint, Michigan, pretty hardcore. Okay. We do a lot of live streams ourselves. We've taken some local bands and put them in a former venue that existed here and multicam shot them. So when I came across, so I'm always searching for venues. And when Come and Take It Live started putting out the live stream production that they're doing, not only did the bar blow me away, but their audio visual live stream blew me away. Then I see you guys and I'm like, well, shit, these guys are doing everything we want to be doing. Obviously, y'all are in Austin, Texas. Biloxi, Mississippi is not the same as far as size and population, whatever, but we want to have our own little Gulf Coast kind of thing. We're right by New Orleans. We're an hour and 15 minutes away from New Orleans. But that's how I'm always on the internet scouring for what I want to do and what I'm trying to do.
Well, we'd love to be out there once it gets set up, man. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, we definitely want to give a shout out to ATX Metal Podcast because they're the ones that actually did the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come and take it as a come and take it live is a fantastic venue. Come and take it Productions is a fantastic production company. So we know Anthony, who runs both of those, really well, and the venue is just a great place to play. I mean, they have a lot of road shows. They do a lot of locals. They're awesome enough to have locals open up the road shows or whatever. And ATX Metal Podcast has been a good proponent of us as well. They streamed the entire show that night, which showcased also our friends in Slow Motion Crush and Hinayana, who we were sandwiched in between those guys. But so I just want to make sure, as far as the quality of the sound and the video, that's going to be ATX Metal Podcast.
Yeah, those
so
guys.
check those guys out.
We'd love to get in touch with those guys and maybe even have them on the show. So we're all about cross promotion and we're trying to create a network, man. It's
hit up Ryan Rail.
Okay.
Rayle. He and his co-owner are the ones that manage it. He's taken full front over it right now, so you probably get a response from him the fastest. But yeah, huge props to that guy, man. He does all the interviewing at the Noise Factory, which is a studio out in Austin that we've worked at for live sessions, and he's franchised with them and works with Come and Take It to do these live performances. He just try to get his hands on everything, and he's very professional. He's a great guy.
So. Speaking of,
they actually shot. We actually have live video of our studio stuff that we did in November of last year.
Yeah.
So
that's on our YouTube page.
If people are wanting to hear more songs than the two that we have on Spotify, we play two other songs that aren't currently recorded, and they're not done recording in the studio vein, but we did a live version of them. So if you go on YouTube, look for Noise Factory, NoizFaktory, right?
Yeah.
And on Facebook, look for them. They have our videos, the first two from that session, on YouTube, and I think the third song is dropping here in another week.
2026.
Here pretty soon.
February 26th.
Yeah.
Also, to make it simpler, you can just check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Aerial Band, and the links are also on there for the live show.
And we have nothing to do with being a System of a Down tribute band.
No, we don't. We don't.
Not yet.
You can't make jokes like that, bro. You gotta be careful, dude.
So many people. A lot of people call us Aerials, and there's no S on our name. And we have we have nothing to do with System of a Down.
And there's two A's in the front, man. I say that live. I usually yell out, I'm like, we're Aerial. We got two A's in the front, and then I drop the mic, dude. And then
but then you got to cap it off with and no S, bitches.
Yeah.
I was worried I wasn't pronouncing it right, but yeah, that's Kevin. He's like, like the song, like the System song. But you're right, no S, no S.
That's right. No S.
Gentlemen, dude, we appreciate your time, man. This has been a great conversation. I've said it before, digging the music. Can't wait to hear more. So if y'all want to come back on at any time, y'all are family now. So you just let us know you want to drop a single or you got anything new to talk about. Shoot us a message through Facebook, and it's an open invite.
Cool,
awesome, man.
Badass. Thanks.
We'll hit you up April 2nd for the release, bro. Jump on the release. You want to do our release party, bro?
Yes. April 2nd, and we have a show April 4th, so we can tie it all in.
Sweet, man. I'll hit you guys up. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Kevin, that was a good one, man.
That was. You gonna stay live?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna do a little wrap up with me.
I was like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? What's next? What's on the table for what we need to do for the next show?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody that was watching that with us and everybody in the comments section. We really appreciate y'all checking it out. Hopefully we're bringing y'all what we promised, some new artists that maybe you haven't heard of that you end up really digging. So if you're enjoying what we're doing, we'd love it if you smash the like button, smash the share button, and if you're really, really digging it, you can drop !notify in the comments now, and it'll automatically alert you every time Kevin and I go live here on the sound. So what else, Kevin?
I will say this, that next Thursday, we do have another show. We'll be back in the studio for that.
Say the date for the people that watch it on the replay.
Well, I'm getting ready to do this. You ready? Watch this.
Yeah.
March 18th. Yes. So Zachary Perkins will be in the studio, and video will be the band, another band out of Texas, San Antonio, Pigweed, will be joining us for that. And then on the 25th, we will be doing a StreamYard show like this with a couple bands, Dead by Wednesday and Existing in Exile. So.
And another thing we got too as well, Kevin, you said, did you have time to do it today? We're trying to create, or he did, a YouTube playlist of all the upcoming guests. So if you want to stay like up to date and hear these guys before we have them on the show, so you're more familiar with the music, just jump on over to our YouTube channel. Just look up the Sound 228, put the 228 in there, and you can maybe be a little more familiar with some of the people that we talk to.
Yeah, so it's there. I think there's a video from Zachary Perkins, a couple from Pigweed, a couple from there's one by Dead by Wednesday, Existing Exiles in there. So yeah, so as the shows are getting booked, Jay Jones for the April show. So as they're getting booked, we're throwing them in there. So you can definitely check the play. It's a public playlist. Just go to the page and look for the playlist that says upcoming guest.
Love it, man. Love it. All right. Once again, thanks everybody for listening on the live and on the replay and also on the audio. If you don't have the app yet, please go download it. It's just type in the Sound 228. It's on Google Play. It's on the App Store. It's literally everything Kevin and I are doing squished down into one app. And then it also has the digital radio station, so you can check out all the tunes that we're trying to familiarize you with. Is that right?
That's it.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
Later.